The white folks getting pimps. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm making their future. I'm writing down their curriculum. When it comes out in 2 months, that's what white kids is doing. So who really is getting pimps?
What's up? I say, what's up? I say, what's up?
Man, sit your ass down.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be reacting to why hip-hop is dying, okay? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and we are about to get into the video.
Hip-hop isn't really dead, but the path the genre is on is leading to certain aspects of the genre dying. An important conversation right here, and if you appreciate a raw conversation like this, drop a like and don't be stingy. This has actually been on my mind for quite some time. I'm sure you might have a few things to say about it, and I want to start this conversation by taking a look at this article from Billboard. Essentially, they talk about why hip-hop has been on the decline on the charts. Although this is the article that I'm leading this video with, this conversation that I'm going to have in this video is actually way deeper than what this article is going to talk about how hip-hop hasn't been dominating the charts like it was in the past. So much to the point where half of the year is gone and there's yet a hip-hop album that's charted at #1 this year. Now, that was until the Pink Tape, which I got some things to say about. That's another conversation. And that's kind of surprising now that I think about it. It's not something I even noticed, mostly because I don't put too much stock in what's hot on the charts, but obviously I'll pay attention to it and I see it, and I know that's usually what the masses pay attention to the most. So this time last year, there are a bunch of #1 rap albums like the article mentioned, and then this year, we're kind of going through this dip where, that's not really happening. Now, just from some of the numbers I've been looking at and seeing, hip-hop is far from in danger, if you will. Overall, it is, after all, the fastest growing genre, and it's been like that for some time now. I think hip-hop, especially in the last decade, has just seen such an influx of listeners and revenue to the point where it is being prioritized in a lot of spaces because that's what's making the money, right? That's especially true for the record labels, which we're going to talk a lot about in this video. A lot of
Find Peter Parker.
What's
the thing on his head?
record labels for the last couple years have made it their life mission to allocate a lot of their funds and attention to signing hip-hop acts specifically. And that's obviously the case because that's where the money is right now. Rappers also have a pretty fast turnover rate, and how that connects to the music industry is, out of, let's say, 100 rappers a record label signs, at least 80% of those rappers, statistically speaking, are going to fail. Now, failure not meaning that they won't be able to sustain their career and find some type of success in their own way, more so failure in terms of how a record label views it, because they sign you with the hopes of getting a return on that investment, right? Plain and simple, it's just business, and there's a cap and limit on how much of their resources can actually be allotted to every single act that gets signed. Now, the budget is there, but in a lot of ways, it's not there because these labels are signing so many people, and in the process, they're losing a lot of money. However, they make it all back when they sign.
It's like, why, this is what I never got when it came to like the music labels or whatever. Why are you signing so many artists knowing that you're going to shelve a lot of them? You get what I'm saying? It's like, take it one step at a time, sign probably like a couple of artists, probably like, since they're a record label, probably like 10, 15 artists, and see what they do first. You get what I'm saying? If some of them don't profit after, years and years and years and years, then drop them or whatever, But why are you signing so many? Because everybody know that when you're an artist and you get signed to a label, that's a big deal for the artist because that means that you have more broad opportunities to come your way. You get showcasted way more than you did when you were independent, so forth, so on and so on. They get excited when they sign to these record labels, not knowing about, #1, the shady contracts, okay? And then 2, they might get shelved if they don't see that they are progressing as they should. Because the artists could actually have their own little fan base and actually is doing good, doing decent, is actually successful in their own right. But if it's not really the label standard of what they think success is, then they can get shelved, or they could be, they won't even put as much attention to that artist as they put into probably like a Doja Cat or, a J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar, a Beyonce, a Rihanna.
So that 20% that either breaks even or succeeds is the reason why they're banking on signing so many people. And it's really a game of how many shots can we take, because at some point, one of those shots is going to go in. Not only that, one of those 100 shots is probably going to make up for all the other 99 people who we gave a record deal to and signed. So that's the way the industry is set up right now, period. And it's always been like that. But now what's happened is everything is about filling quotas. It's not how can we serve this artist to become the greatest artist they can possibly become. It's how can we market this artist and make them appear as someone who's greater than what they actually are. Jay-Z said it the best. One time Hov made a great point about how greatness actually takes time to develop. And these days, no one wants to put in the time to reach that greatness, i.e. nobody wants to put in the time. And that's especially true for the labels, right? Major labels don't want to take the time to develop these artists because delayed gratification. The industry needs to make money now, like today. And that's at the expense of not only the artists, but also the quality of the music. How can we market this music and artists in the quickest way possible to as many people as possible while spending the least amount of money as possible while making back the most amount of money? Now that right.
And you know what? That quote right there is when it comes to every single company, when it comes to all these big corporations, it's greed in a way. And I believe that they forgot the saying, it's always quality over quantity. And they're lacking in quality, but as long as they get more out of the situation, they don't really give a fuck, And it's kind of, it's bad because it's nothing but greed. You want to put less money in, but you want to get more out while also just spending less. And it's like, it does not work. It does not work like that. Like, if you want quality work, you're going to spend a hefty amount of money. Period. That goes with anything. But they're wondering why they're struggling when it comes to actually building solid artists. And it's like, you skipped the artist development phase. Because back then, we had artist development where the labels actually signed an unknown artist that nobody knew about, okay? They signed them because of their talent. They put them in artist development by actually building them and making them an artist, making them, a superstar. Because not even a celebrity, because everybody is a celebrity nowadays. I'm talking about stars. Like, they made stars back in the day, and they literally don't even do that anymore. And the thing is that the stars back in the day were quality. They were quality work, and their quality was amazing. And the thing is that you wonder how they have so much longevity and they actually built to be legends to this day is because of how the industry was back in the day. They actually signed artists that were talented. Probably nobody knew about them yet. And they actually built them into the artists and the stars that they are and known are today. Living legends, as you may say. They don't want to do the hefty work anymore. They don't want to do that. They just want to make money off of you without putting in the money, without doing the heavy labor, without all of that. And the thing is that you're making artists that is not even going to last long because they don't have the proper artist development.
Because developing talent not only takes time, it takes money and it takes resources. The shortcut to that is what they're doing right now. They're discovering an artist who has the potential to appear as a star. The music might even be amazing, but the foundation might be shaky. But it don't matter as long as money can be made. It don't matter as long as we can keep this artist in a position to be seen. Because at some point, due to the nature of constantly getting exposed to something, we as human beings, we eventually find something that we like about the very thing we're getting exposed to. This is marketing 101. If you can put something in front of people time and time and time again, a percentage of those people will start to find good aspects of whatever it is that's being marketed towards them. Now, Ice Spice, who I put on a thumbnail, is a good example of this. Bless her lovely little heart. I have nothing negative to say about the young woman's character, but as an artist and as a brand, she's a great example of this exposure theory we're discussing. Cause she came in the game with this song called Munch. The song was blowing up and going. Vividly remember how the first 2 weeks it was going up, everybody had something negative to say about it. A couple weeks passed and people went from clowning the song to being indifferent to the song to liking the song to loving the song to them becoming a fan of Ice Spice. How interesting. I'm not saying that she's universally loved, quite the opposite actually, but I like Ice Spice more now that I've been exposed to her presence in comparison to when she initially came out. So who's to blame for this, you might ask? Well, the labels, because they're controlling 90% of the music that's surfacing to the top. One of the bigger reasons why hip-hop is able to dominate the charts in the first place has to do with the fact that hip-hop is being prioritized over a lot of other genres by the labels, i.e. these records that eventually go number one have a lot of money behind them because getting your record spun on all these major radio stations actually costs money, and so the quality of the music has taken a back seat because the priority is how can we make back the money on this album we're investing all these resources into. And with that being the case, who do you think controls the kind of music that actually gets released? It ain't the artists. And in a lot of ways, and this is the scary part, the artist is now like the supporting opinion to the main opinion. And the main opinion is the label. They're really calling all the shots, and the artist is merely involved in support of that shot. So artists have literally, and we're going to touch on this in a second, but rappers and artists universally have submitted their power to these corporations in hopes of becoming this big success.
Artists came out and said this numerous of times, where they say that they have no control in their art. And it frustrates an artist because when you hold back an artist and what they want to make, it kind of does something to them. You know, it's just, that's what they do. They make art. That's their safe place, their safe haven. So when you take that and you try to control that, where they can't express themselves anymore and they just have to go by, oh, what you say, this will work. And no, don't do that. Do it like this because no, we don't want to do that. Do this. And it's just like, it takes away the passion, the feeling, the art.
Let's keep on talking.
Artificial intelligence can generate ad.
Look at them white kids with Raiders hats on. It's the white folks getting pimped. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm making their future. I'm writing down their curriculum. When it comes out in 2 months, that's what white kids is doing. So who really is getting pimped?
See that?
Sorry, y'all. I love me some Tupac, okay? I love me some, and my mom, oh my God, my mom loved her some Tupac. She said she would have married Tupac, child. But I was the type of baby, I'm the type of person that I grew up on Tupac, I grew up on old school Biggie, I grew up on Rage, I grew up on Boss, I grew up on, and I know some of y'all like, who the fuck is Rage, who the fuck is Boss? Bitch, if you know, you know, okay? That's the type of hip-hop that I grew up on. I grew up old school hip-hop. And when I say Rage, I mean Lady Rage. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but yes, Rage, okay? Baby D from Friday, that was Rage. That's Rage.
Was in the industry, but never let the industry take the one thing he had, which was his authentic voice. Despite being a part of the industry, he never conformed to the standards of it. He kept a real outside and inside of the music. And that came with a lot of pushback. Labels didn't actually want Tupac in his purest form. They wanted a Pac they could mold into whatever it is they wanted to create him into, and he knew this. Pac on several occasions spoke about what he didn't like about labels and the industry. This is something that was depicted on the movie, All Eyes on Me. Before Pac signed to Interscope Records, he had this meeting with 2 label executives who just didn't understand what he was trying to do with his music. What happened specifically was they didn't like the idea of him releasing the song, Brenda's Got a Baby. Now that's a classic record, but obviously the music industry's focus is entertaining people and not emotionally moving people.
Now we do have a couple thoughts, however. Little stuff, like maybe a couple of the tracks that just hold off on for now.
Like what?
Brenda's Got a Baby.
So you know who I am, and you know my music, and you think that I would actually scrap that song?
Well, to be blunt, Brenda's Got a Baby is depressing.
Now, in the end, Pac and Interscope started seeing eye to eye.
They don't understand that depressing music or music that actually moves people sells. Example, XXXTentacion, his music. People say it's depressing. It sells. you know, because people actually go through those emotions. People ain't gonna want to turn up all the fucking time, bro. People is not gonna want to do that. You want to actually get music that's actually going to move people, that's going to have people relate, because people is not going to be in a turn up space all the time. You need music that's going to move people. You do. And talking about, well, it's depressing, it's sad. Okay, you know how many people love depressing and sad songs? A lot. Okay? A lot. Just saying.
Tupac was able to vocalize to the label executives why this record was so important to release. The only thing they see is, can this be marketed as it is? Pac, however, like the genius that he was, flipped it on him and said, I am the market. This is new, this is fresh, and this record is actually going to impact people on an emotional level. And he was right, because Brenda's Got a Baby came out on October 20, 1991, and here I am talking about it 31 years later. Was able to get his ways because he actually believed in his way so much to the point that he was willing to walk away. Rappers these days are not willing to walk away from the industry. They're walking towards the industry, already being willing to conform and sacrifice their authenticity in order to join ship, just so they can have this big infrastructure backing them up, i.e. a record label. And so
and then the thing is that rappers, some rappers, not all, they don't want to walk away because they're in a mindset like, I can't do this independently. I'm not going to get the same exposure that I would. They're looking at the fame of it all. Because you can make hella money independent as an artist, okay? Because all that money is to you, especially if you have a solid fan base. You do not need a label to be successful when it comes to music. But it all depends on what they paint as success. Some people paint as success when it comes to fame. Some people paint success as just making money off of what they want to do and live comfortably. Some people paint success in different ways. So let's start there. But far as making money and living good, artists can do that independently. They don't need a label for that. Now, if you want fame, okay, that's a different story.
The artists have given their power away to the industry because they want to make it in this. There's still that 20% who've maintained their power, but the majority gives it up. And so that has an effect on hip-hop across the board because the bulk of the rappers in the game follow suit. And how does that affect the genre? Well, the quality diminishes and the music is not as pure as it could be, because not only are we dropping a bunch now to satisfy the quotas of the industry, but the majority of what we're dropping has no soul because you gave your soul to be in this industry. You conformed, and that directly has a negative effect on the actual quality, because now we're not connecting with the rapper in his authentic form. We're connecting with a malleable version of the rapper that the industry has created. So the place the music is being dropped from is an inauthentic place. It's coming from the wrong place because so many of our artists have decided to conform to the industry standard. And since the industry standard is we want to make a bunch of money, are you on the same page? The 80% rapper says, yes, I want to make a bunch of money. What exactly do you need me to do? If you say jump, 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 I will jump, jump, jump. If you say sit, sit down, I will sit, sit down. If you say bark, 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 I will roof, roof, roof. Bark, bark, bark. And then there's that 20% who says, yes, I want to make a bunch of money, but what comes with making this money? These are the artists who have similar spirits to guys like Kendrick or J. Cole. See, these guys have made so much money, it's not even funny, and they did it righteously. They didn't conform. That's only because they knew their value before the industry saw value in them. So many rappers wait for the industry to co-sign their value before they co-sign themselves. Approaching it from that perspective, when the industry does co-sign you, since the validation is what you are always chasing, you're willing to give it all away for chump change. And that's what happens when you're chasing the validation of the industry. That's how they get you. Most rappers just don't know their intrinsic value as artists, which benefits who? The labels. A person who doesn't know their value is more likely to get taken advantage of. I mean, just majority of people in general are sheep, right? So if an industry is changing from the inside out, what's going to happen is anyone who's inside that industry, most people, 80%, 90% of people, they're going to conform because they see other people conform. And so we have this cycle of monkey see, monkey do, and then in the end, the quality of the music ends up taking a hit, like a huge hit. I mean, think about it like this. Do you think people are actually listening to albums now? Are people actually listening to albums now? What happened when Kendrick, one of the greatest rappers of this fucking generation, dropped his last project. What happened? People's attention spans are goldfish status now. People couldn't even pay attention to the theme of the project. People couldn't even pay attention to what he was saying in that album. You don't hear a lot of music fans talking about it. A lot of hip hop fans are not talking.
That's true. Because when Kendrick dropped his album, it was art, okay? That shit was art. Because people's attention span is so short, you have to get their attention right away. Because if you don't, they're not going to understand it. They're not going to like it. They're not going to tune in. They're not going to buy it. And I think that's just horrible. That's horrible.
I think that album by Kendrick was almost like a test to hip hop. Can y'all digest this? Nope. Let me give you guys this. I'm gonna give you guys this body of work, and I'm gonna see if you guys can digest it. Not just that. I'm gonna see if you guys are gonna be willing to try to digest it. And what happened? What Jay-Z say? Do you fools listen to music or do you just skim through it? Clearly, a lot of y'all motherfuckers are skimming through music now. I don't think people are really listening like they used to.
Remember what Tupac said? He said that listen to the words, not the beat. Listen to the words and not the beat. People just bobbing to the beat. If the beat good, if the beat get your feet tapping, you don't have to say shit in them lyrics. Because people are not listening to the lyrics anymore. They're listening to the beat. They're listening to catchy like hooks and all that kind of stuff. Like you could be saying bullshit. But as long as that hook and that beat is popping, as long as the beat is good and as long as it got something catchy about it. But actually listening to it and catching the art and actually appreciating the artist and his artistry, yeah, you can forget about it.
And there's no spirit behind the words. So of course it's gonna fall on deaf ears. You're not making anything worth for me to listen to. And that's not all artists. I'm saying just as a whole in general, right? Obviously, I'm talking about the mainstream and I'm talking about the things that are coming to the surface because we got to keep in mind, even though there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of artists that are not conforming. Most artists are going to conform. Most artists are always going to conform because that's the easy thing. And because doing it your own way actually takes a lot of heart and it takes a different kind of spirit to have the confidence to do it your way. Most people don't have that lion spirit. They just don't have it. There's so much money in the music, and so the meaning of the words have taken a back seat.
I totally agree what he's talking about. He spoke nothing but facts. Even Beyonce addressed it in one of her documentaries. She said that people was just making fast music. Single after single after single after single that just is gonna like be a hit. And nobody is actually making albums anymore. And by that, she's saying nobody is making art. Nobody is making meaningful music anymore. A masterpiece. Nobody is looking at that no more. They're just looking at, let me get a next hit. They don't have the soul. They don't put the soul in it. They don't put the hard work in it. They don't put their feelings into it. They don't put none of that into music anymore. So when industry is scrambling and stressed about art is not lasting nowadays, it's like, how can you be stressed? How can you not see how y'all made this happen? Y'all made this happen. This is all y'all doing. Y'all did this. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it wasn't gonna, you thought that y'all was gonna do this and it was gonna make longevity artists? Are you serious? They're not making legends anymore. They're making 15-minuters, 20-minute famers.
What?
That's what the industry is making now, you know? And not knocking off anybody in the industry. Hey, do you get your coin? Do what works for you. But, I mean, the truth is the truth. What do you guys think about this video? And what do you guys think about the topic? Please leave your comments down below. Though, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.